Okay, so there was some product updates, and then also a few sessions of like actual practical knowledge. So things to just be aware of. There's a new initiative, they're calling the Manifest Initiative, um, and that is to speed up the update and creation of content in the community zone. And they are currently working with a handful of publishers to automate the process of getting new collections into the CZ or getting better records. Um, and so they say for the publishers that they are working with, the if the publisher, like, has a new subscription package, it's now getting into the CZ within 2 weeks, which honestly, like, when the CZ and CDI started, it could be months, and you had to enter a ticket, and it was, like, a whole thing. And now, the people that we pay for these services are actually dealing with them, so that's cool. Um, they, of course, also wanted to talk a lot about their AI initiatives. Um, and for us, as the folks who work with the system, the Knowledge Assistant AI tool in the Knowledge Center. So if you like go to any old knowledge center page, there's now this knowledge assistant that allows you to ask a question and then it will take content just from the various knowledge centers. So Dev Network, the Knowledge Center, and their LibGuides to like send you to the right information or answer the question. So if you haven't checked that out, I personally haven't used it, but it is probably super useful if you're not used to being in the knowledge center every single day for hours on end. Um, so that's kind of neat. The other thing, the known issues portal. So they're finally doing some sharing uh of tickets. So if a ticket comes in that is like a global issue, they are putting it in the known issues portal, and you do have to log in. So if you don't have a support um, account, you can talk to your person at your college that handles support tickets and see if you can get one. Um, but you can go to known issues right here. I'll log in so that we can actually see it. And this launched mid-June. So there were a lot of, or mid-April, so there were a lot of tickets created then. But basically the idea is if you're having an issue and you want to start a ticket about it, they kind of want you to go in here and see if it's already been reported and what the um like fix is and when that's scheduled, so that they can reduce the number of duplicate tickets. So um yeah, I'll be curious. None of the tickets so far are things that any of our libraries have brought up, that I could tell. I tried to kind of compare. Um, but if you're interested in checking out what's going on and how they're responding to those, um, that's the place to do it. Um, kind of bringing all of that together between support tickets and knowledge centers, is they are working on a unified knowledge portal, where they can consolidate the articles they've written, the videos that they have, use AI to like be able to search and navigate that, and connect support requests to those knowledge articles. So I know that there is an Eluna group, a documentation group that is working with Ex Libris on that. So I'm eager to see because frankly, the Knowledge Center is annoying, and sometimes not accurate. So if they could get it more streamlined so it's easier to update, that would be great. Some of the interesting news was the discussion of open access metadata, and Ex Libris has been working um, directly with publishers now, and using their AI stuff to improve the open access metadata of the collections in the CZ. They have created over 1,000, and they said that none of these 1,000 plus open access collections have not been activated. So all of them have been activated by at least one institution. Um, so it's a total of like several 100 million records, and the top collections, which completely aligns with what I see in our collections as well, but these are the ones that get the most attention because the most people have activated them, um, are DOAJ, DOAB, the Taylor and Francis Open Collection, and the JSTOR Open Collection. So if you are looking at your uh, environment and wondering if stuff is activated or want to activate it, just let me know and we can take a look. I thought I did miss Bobby's question. The known issues portal or the unified knowledge portal, Bobby? Known issue, I think for now, yeah, is just Alma, but they want to do a Primo one. And then and then they already do have a content one for Community Zone and CDI. But I think they're gonna add a Primo one and then potentially down the road, Leganto, Rialto, etc. But yeah, so getting there. Um, they of course love to announce new products and change their products all the time. So they are launching something called Vega Web Builder, which will I think the idea is to kind of create an alternative to LibGuide CMS to create uh like low code, no code websites for libraries that already use um Ex Libris products. Of course, this is a paid add-on. Um, and most of our schools do already use LibGuides, but something if you don't love LibGuides or you don't have LibGuides yet, or you don't have a home page built in LibGuides, I guess that's something to look into. Alma Digital, which a few of our schools have looked into for digital repositories, is becoming Specto Essentials. And it's going to be a document management system that links to Discovery. And Alma Digital subscribers will just automatically get switched to the Specto Essentials. But then there will be more features with full Specto, and they're also launching a Specto preservation module that will help subscribers get their items digitized. So they're expanding that part of their services. We may down the road, because we have been kind of looking into whether or not we could do some kind of repository as a consortium and split cost because nobody has that much stuff. We may look into that when it kind of gets its feet under it. One of the sessions done by an actual user. Cal State Northridge librarian was Heather Cribbs. She did a big usability study with the Primo Research Assistant. And I know only a couple of schools have it activated so far. Bellingham, you guys are one of them, and I can't remember who else. But I know there's been a lot of hesitancy to turn on the tool. Um, and right now, it's not hard to turn it off. With NDE coming along in the next year, it's much harder to turn it off. It's still possible, but it's real annoying. Um, so her research embedded the Primo Research Assistant use into multiple courses at both an undergrad and doctoral level. So um, she worked with faculty to ask them to ask the students specifically to use the research assistant. Um, they were asked to record their experiences and also completed surveys. Unfortunately, she said that the undergrads were not very good at filling out the journals. And so they were really only able to use 12 of the doctoral student responses for analysis. So these are, of course, students that are going to be more experienced with research. Um, and they had some um, interesting feedback, like very promising that, like the summarization of the articles that answer the research question. They liked that, but they didn't like that they didn't really have control over what responses they got. That was like the number one piece of thing. Like, we want to be able to say we only want sources that are 5 years old. We only want you know, peer reviewed things because um, the content is specifically from whatever's in your catalog and your CDI, but activations, but it doesn't currently have an algorithm that's kind of tweaked to eliminate dated sources or, for the upper level courses, dissertations and unpublished works. Um, they sent some recommendations to Ex Libris based on those journal findings, and Ex Libris is very excited about that and like working on them. Um, the survey findings, oh, and my note to myself to review the slides. Um, but the findings, more people did respond, and a lot of the same key findings of like students like the summarization, but even the ones that were not as experienced with research wanted more control with filters. So that's definitely something that Ex Libris is now they probably were aware of it, but they've got some pressure. Um, However, for now, Elsevier and the American Psychological Association are not allowing their content to be ingested for use in Research Assistant. So some of that high impact content, especially their open access, is not included. So that's, of course, going to affect the results. Before we move on to Illuna updates, the NDE, also known as the New Discovery Experience, is the next iteration of Primo. It really brings usability to the forefront in how they developed it and designed it. However, it right now is just it's still pretty tricky to figure out how to do some of the customizations that um, you all have done in your Primo V environments. So for now, Pierce College was one of the colleges chosen to be early adopters by Ex Libris. So we're participating in a global group who are testing and creating, dev versions of Primo portals to kind of see how it works. And I am specifically working to figure out how much we can really realistically customize and how to offer those to all of you. So there will be more as the releases of the NDE become more stable and have fewer bugs. I'm certainly not recommending anyone switch to it this fall. I think the live version is expected in November. Bobby can probably correct me. But right now there's still a number of bugs and things that like we just don't quite understand about the customization because it really is kind of totally different. I mean, it doesn't look different to users necessarily, but does it's not just like Primo VE 2.0. So that we will have lots more information on that. So the summarizations for the AI assistant are according to these journal findings, they were pretty accurate. So I think that's because the content is limited. Um, and you're not getting they have no one has experienced hallucinations with this one. So it's just kind of a much more like locked down tool. As far as NDE, I there will be some customizations that you can do yourselves. There are, of course, labels that you can change. Some of the same kind of like what information is included in the brief results that you can do, which filters are available on the side. Those things are still available very easily from the different NDE customization tabs. Some of the stuff that I am almost certain no one will be able to do because it has required downloading lots of additional software and doing lots of coding is more of the stylistic stuff. So colors, contrast, the new homepage that they have, which very few of us actually use. So if you didn't want to use it, we could kind of do the minimal and move on. Yeah, the links on the landing page are difficult to change, not impossible, but like the icons on the landing page are not easy to change. So, um yeah, it's very interesting. It is possible to copy your current Primo V package into an NDE, but a lot of the coding just doesn't work because it's a completely different Angular version, JavaScript. Um, and um, and then it breaks stuff too. Like if you just copy all of your old stuff into a new one, it breaks actual functionality that you want because it does. Yeah. Um, Bobby would not recommend the duplicate. Me either. It's interesting, like definitely a fun experiment to duplicate, but much better to start from scratch. Um, so I will be putting together a work group with the Pierce team and Tracy already. I've asked, but we'll probably um, keep it not too huge because the purpose will be to evaluate which customizations are feasible and then kind of create a document and plan so that folks can make those choices. I can make the customizations. We can, launch like a soft test site for those folks, and then kind of just move forward in groups like that. So, it is coming. Yeah. Some of the other little Illuna updates, there is a new enhancement request voting process. It's no longer called NERS. It's called CURVE, Community Enhancement Request Voting. And so we as a consortium do have 100 votes in that for the products that we subscribe to, so Alma and Primo. I usually kind of take a look at the list and see what kinds of things would be most impactful for the work that you all do on a daily basis, not the really like crazy backside like acquisitions things that very few people use. And I try not to vote on more than like 3 things so that we, aren't splitting up those votes too much. So like 30, 30 and 40 or 50 and 50 or sometimes 30 and 70. But yeah. Eluna did a community survey, which they will be sharing the results of, just kind of on like what people want in support, what they think of what Eluna does. I don't really know. I don't remember getting it, but I'm sure I did. Um, this last year, like Whack-to-Click, they have done organizational work, editing their bylaws and constitution, just kind of making sure records are in order. Speaking of all of the Illuna documentation, so not this one, but if we go to the document repository, um, it has a new login password. So I haven't actually even updated it, but if you want that, let me know. I'm not going to send it out on the open list serve. But if you want to access this and be able to take a look at content from various Eluna presentations, it's not recordings. It's usually just the slides, but it can be helpful. So, yeah, there's that. 2026 Eluna. It will be April 27th to May 1st, back in Los Angeles at the same hotel. So I know that almost everybody has absolutely no travel funds. But it is nice that it's on the West Coast. I will probably be able to attend since it's on the West Coast, and it's back in its normal time frame instead of in June. So we will, we'll probably consider how we can support travel since so many schools will have absolutely zero funds. We'll have to just discuss that as an executive committee. I also liked the Bon Adventure and the taco truck that was like a block away. Um, and then very interesting little fact, they ran through their financials and their like reserve funds. And our consortium has about the same amount of reserve funds as all of Eluna does. So we're doing good. I think they're also doing fine. Like their purpose is not to bank a bunch of money or give a bunch of money away. It's just to support the conferences and help their executive officers travel to stuff. Um, so that's the Illuna update. Since we've talked about NDE and it's only 10:24, I will go ahead and kind of show you guys what we're dealing with a little bit. Um, Again, I don't really have a full plan figured out, except that I know that we're gonna need a plan. Um, so we'll go to mine. So as you can see, this first page is still pretty similar to the VE. There are some additional tools. Um, you can turn off the research assistant widget. Um, an icon, but then the link at the top is harder. That's the like other ones on the page. It's weird. Um, the links menu, so you can see the research assistant here, like it won't let you deactivate it. But again, very similar to the current one. Search profile slots, again, totally the same. Advanced search configuration is pretty much the same as far as I know. Um, although I think all of the languages came in as default activated, which is different from Primo V. Brief results, again, the same. You've got your Ferber and dedupe. And the filters bar is a much more prominent part of the NDE. And a lot of you don't use it currently in Primo V. Some people do, but again, it kind of comes in default enabled for all of the different material types. Brief record display, again, pretty darn similar. Full record services, again, the same. The difference here is working with the customization package. So they have rolled out this palette of theme colors, which then get applied throughout the JS customization package. It's like an extra whole extra layer of where it like, yeah, it's super fun. And then making edits to that is like a real tricky sticky widget. So if I go to um so now and I just that's the zipped one. It's also way weirder and more specific about like the file structure. It took me like a solid week to figure out what was going on with that. So we've got our code and then like folder name, and then it just says view code, and then you have assets, and then this CSS is for everything. And then there is header and footer where you can put in HTML. The home page has its own CSS. You could put in a background image. I'll show you mine when we get to it. Plus, there's all the HTML. Icons, I have been working for a week to try and get a custom icon SVG to actually load icons. Images, I was working on this here, and it's not working. And then the JavaScript. So significantly more granular, um, and difficult to work with. So if we take a look at, this one, I can show you where I've had some success and not had some success. So we've been able to upload a school icon for the top, throughout the site. I have figured out how to change a primary color. So this is this is Pierce's red. And I've got it, but then it does like this weird, like partial red of it. And I haven't yet figured out how to make it not do that. Yeah, we're just, yeah, it's, this is the background image. This text, uh, you have to choose a color for it. And so it can be a little tricky with a detailed photo to get it to stand out and to get advanced search to stand out, because for whatever reason, it doesn't have a button. So I did figure out how to get this bar to be a color. So that's a customization we can do. All of these are supposed to have icons that I can't get to load. This button is supposed to be red but for some reason, something I changed messed it up. Um, and like, why are these corners not round now? Um, so that's kind of annoying. Um, when we do a search, you can see the new interface here. So we've got that bar, and the advanced search is hiding because for some reason it's red on this page instead of white. So I'm gonna have to do a different, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Also, like all goes to red and yeah. So, um, but like by changing the primary, like you do get the buttons, the availability, the title here. You don't have to go to the new interface for probably 2 to 3 years. Um, so filters by default are closed on the side. I haven't figured out CSS to make them open by default. Um, so, but these are all controlled from advanced search configuration, just like um or not advanced search, sorry. Full record services? No. Help me out here. Here it is. These are all controlled the same way that they ever have been. So at least there's that. But then you have these quick ones, which currently, and I haven't tested this lately, but you would think that these two would then, oh, they got it fixed. Okay, good. Because there was a point at which you would do it in one place and it would not change um at the other place. Um, yay. So things are still improving. Um,
Carly,
yeah,
why is that up in the yellowish beigey banner next to all? Why is that blocked out in that red color?
because the button is red and the text for selected link is also red.
Nice.
Because I messed with the CSS and
Okay.
I have it like some things are overriding and some things aren't. So, yeah, ideally that would be white, like
Nature of the
down here.
beast.
Yeah. So, definitely a lot to work on. I can show you some other folks um and what theirs look like cuz they're so these are big universities with actual developer people. So this is a very nice kind of like it doesn't look like it changes a lot from the default, but in fact, all of these are custom icons. This is where we got the bar idea from, and I was able to like figure that out. Um, they have managed to actually get this to reach across the screen, and I don't know why mine stopped. Um, Another one that they've been doing a lot of work on is University of Victoria. Um, and so it changes every time I look at it, but it's looking pretty good right now, or it was yesterday. Um, but they're having issue with spacing. Like that left side, like the margin is wrong. And so they've gotten rid of the bottom box, but then their footer isn't sticky. Um, and they've got margin issues here, but they've at least managed to change the icons, which I have not. So you can see using a solid background like this really helps on the readability of this. And if we search on theirs, um, you'll be able to see that material type filter and we should be able to read it so you can see what it's supposed to look like. So they've made theirs look kind of like tabs instead of buttons. Um, so, yeah, so there's another one. And then the third one that I'm kind of keeping an eye on and trying to steal coding from, no, Primo, is Toronto. And so they've used a custom image, but they've gone ahead and like darkened it like a lot so that the text stands out. They've moved the links below the header so it's not so they've got like header and this. Um they've eliminated everything from the new homepage and just said uh this is sneak peek. And then if we search, so they've got a sign in that pops up. They have recommendations activated to check things. They've also done this like tabby style um, instead of button style. And then we've got all their filters. So um, yeah, you can kind of see what is like what people aren't bothering to change. Um, and a lot of that is because it is really high quality usability kind of stuff. Yeah, this is where I got the buttons in the bar idea that isn't working on ours. Um, but like it is way more like googly, I guess. Um, so and a lot of people have turned off um the knowledge assistant, or discovery assistant or whatever, which one it is, research assistant. Um, yeah, so you can tell mine is, I was just like, I'm gonna add colors to things and see where they pop up. Uh, but yeah, so it's most definitely a a work in progress. The CSS is like it the CSS has to refer to things in the JS Angular file, and so you can't just like all of these root things. Um I did try originally just to like, and these are not all of the root things. They were just all the ones that weren't black or white that I was trying to like see how they affected things. Um but there's a lot. Um, so it's yeah. Um, so we will see. My idea is basically that we would get a functioning, like decent looking version of Pierce's, and then I with the group would work on like here are, and like, and do a square around, like you can change the color of this bar, you can change the colors of these buttons, you can, like here are the things that we can do, and here are the things that like we are just not feasible in initial launch. Now, down the road, as we get more familiar with it, and I'm sure they, like figure out and more people share code and stuff, there may be additional changes that we can make. Um, but um, Ex Libris really prioritized accessibility on this one. And so that's why it is the way it is. Um, yeah. So we'll just figure it out. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with NDE. Um, and here, if folks wanna, no, darn it, I was gonna say I'll put in the chat some of these so you guys can kind of check them out. Um, mm, Interesting. Library search. Okay, there we go. And if you want to see what mine is looking like from time to time, there you go. It's not good. um, yeah. So, because yeah, this was me trying to darken a photo. Yeah. So, um, yeah, it of course it will take a lot of work, but it's not going to be the only thing by any means that we are working on. Um, I've had quite a few responses to my summer workshop topic interest, and the one of most interest was uh, fulfillment policy cleanup. So I have started to put together that like workshop outline, and I will plan to choose um 2 days in August. Probably stick to like a Tuesday or a Thursday, and go probably 11 a.m. instead of 10. And we'll do an hour like 2 weeks in a row. It will be recorded, and um, the recording and the documentation will all be available for everybody afterwards if you're not able to make it or you've got folks that are off contract this summer. Um, so we'll do some fulfillment cleanup, and there was also a lot of interest in catalog cleanup. So we'll probably go in and dig around with some um, indication rules to find problem records, and then some norm rules to correct problem records. We've done that usually, yeah, every year and a half or so. We've done it a couple times now. So we'll have some good old fashioned Alma maintenance type workshops, and we'll probably also do some sushi harvesting. I may be reaching out specifically to folks who don't have it activated yet to see what we can do to get it activated for you, um, as well as auto holdings. That is one of Ex Libris's newer services. It started with just ProQuest content, but I think that it is available now for enough vendors that it's worth setting it up. So we're going to do kind of have an initiative around auto holdings, because it just greatly improves the accuracy of what you have activated in Primo compared to your actual subscriptions with the vendor, which is good. Um, so yeah, still have work for the fall and the spring that is not going to be NDE, but will also be uh, ramping up on the NDE. Bobby has a question to the group. Is anyone utilizing Dara, the assistant tool, the recommendations tool, on a regular basis? I have used it. I used it on Big Bend, just to kind of see what it was finding. Um, but that could be one that we also have a little workshop on, introducing people to how to read those, how to yeah, whether or not to follow them is kind of like the most instruction that I would like, yeah, some of them are useful, some of them are not. Um, so yeah, I think we've got some good work to do. We have some new um new staff at some of our libraries that will probably be joining us and wanting to connect. So I look forward to that. We do have a WLA academic conference scheduled for this fall on October 17th down at Longview. Not new libraries, new library staff. So hopefully I'll get to see some folks at that library conference on October 17th. And then perhaps you noticed, but there's no giant mess behind me anymore because I moved into my new office and I have, wait for it, a window and another window. Very, very excited. I don't have my new desk yet though, so I will be facing the other way, so my backdrop will be the plants in the window eventually, but I'm very excited. I picked the color, did all the painting. My husband did the floor. The room is not 55 degrees, um, so I'm not freezing to death all the time. Um, so yeah, it's thrilling. I'm very excited. So yeah, keep an eye out for the workshops. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's a very, I mean, like, it's a very institutionally kind of color. Like, it is bright, but it's not crazy. My mom was like, it looks just like the cafeteria at Evergreen Hospital back in the 80s. Thanks, I guess. I visited you there a lot at work, so I probably like it. Uh, um, yeah. Oh, the other big news, I'll just keep mentioning it every open call until I pull the trigger, but we will be moving away from the CTC listservs because their platform is broken. And we will be moving to Google Groups because it's much easier to control membership list and search the archives of Google Groups. And right now it's impossible to search the archives. You can't even access them as a list member because it's so broken. So yeah. So in the fall, when kind of folks are all back, I'll start sending mass invites to move everybody over to a new Google group for our listserv. Um, so it'll be totally private. It will still be considered, of course, a state document, because, likely your work email will be the one attached to it, but at least it won't be searchable by the general public, so we can share things like eLuna passwords. Um, so okay, well, it's 10:50. Thanks everyone for dropping in today. Is there anything I can help or answers or questions for the group?
Actually, can I do a shout out to Tracy? Thanks for the tip for about VLE books. We had a vendor meeting with them the other day, and I think we're going to start buying some stuff through them and save some money. So yay, thank you.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thanks so much, everybody. I'm gonna stop recording.